As the glass ball came dropping down the sky, signaling the start of 2017, I found myself in the midst of my cozy apartment, toasting to the new year with Jiho, my most cherished friend and an equally passionate mixer. We were always adventurous, breaking conventional rules, and were transfixed on a singular mission: to create an unexplored fusion of cocktails which no one had ever tasted before. The thrill of the unknown enthralled me. The taste of the different liquors felt like the good flow of life. The sound of the ice swirling inside the glass echoed like a sweet melody to my ears. Our faces were bathed in the warm, multifarious hues of the early January sunrise, the last day of that freezing winter when the promise of spring felt close yet so far. Our hands moved in a cyclical dance of sorts, unanimously stirring, shaking, pouring over and over again. We laughed, cursed, discussed, and finally tasted the fruits of our labor, a harmonious fusion of soju and bourbon, topped with a zest of lemon and a hint of mint. The celebration wasn't about extraordinary decorations or white-bedecked tables. Rather, it was about trying the new and unknown, surprising ourselves, laughing over our freaky ideas, and bonding over shared creativity. Although the cocktail was far from perfect, the joy in our hearts and unwavering enthusiasm was infectious, a reminder of the pinnacle of our craft. I felt a deep connect with my culture, my city, and my chosen profession that day, a fulfillment hard to place in words but deeply entrenched in my spirit. Little did I know that New Year's Eve was a forecast of the amazing journey that was about to unfold, preparing me for what was coming: the challenges, victories, and most importantly, the growth. The following month, amidst the hubbub of late-night Seoul, my exploratory phase continued. I can still feel the rush of adrenaline as I found myself nervously standing before a crowd for the very first time to present my ever-evolving mixology prowess. Imagine representing your craft in a league that is dominated by experienced professionals. Sheer daunting, isn't it? The sharp, melancholic strains of jazz wafted through the air as I took a moment to let the reality sink in. My heart pounded against my ribs, syncing with the rhythm of the music, pulsating with a strange mix of fear and determination. As I made my way to the makeshift minibar, the spotlight caught my eye and ignited a burst of white radiance around me. The sea of spectators disappeared in the blinding glare, leaving just me and my setup, my playground. The echo of the last applause was still penetrating through the room's hushed silence, rather expectantly, as I picked up the glass, the heart of my art. The first swirl of the ice against its crystal edges was magical. The following symphony of pouring spirits one by one, the sound of lemon zest squealing as it was grated, the trail of fizzing soda, it was like a melodious orchestra, comforting and compelling at the same time. From the corner of my eye, I noticed the crowd leaning forward in a collective gasp of fascination as the mint sparkled, twirling inside the mesmerizing blend. The expertise of my movements, the dedication in my soul, the passion in my heart, every element was highly pronounced and much appreciated in that moment of truth. The experience was not only about showcasing the skills of my craft, but more about introspection, about realizing the depth of my journey, and about understanding how intriguing mixology can be. In March, the call of my craft resurfaced yet again. My curiosity drove me to tow the outskirts of Seoul, where distilleries marinated in the timeless traditions of spirit-making dotted the landscape. As I toured these distilleries, clasping a chilled glass that housed the finest locally brewed spirit, the air hummed with a strange melody of distillation processes. Understanding the journey of raw ingredients transforming into exquisite spirits added another layer of appreciation for my craft. The time spent there felt akin to a pilgrimage that strengthened my bond towards mixology, infused a deeper wisdom about spirits, and reinforced the thought that I was on the right path. As April arrived, laden with its customary bursts of sunshine and gusts of spring breeze, I found myself fully immersed in the whimsical world of mixology. The stark corporate skyscrapers and crowded pavements of Seoul gleamed under the brilliant spring sun, painting a contrast to my small, intimate space where I stirred craft cocktails, poured chilled concoctions into sleek crystal glasses, garnished them with delicate sprigs of rosemary, and served them to my faithful patrons. April Fool's Day lent a dash of excitement to my work. Intent on creating a mischievous spectacle, I decided to get experimental. Long hours were spent poring over texts, sampling bizarre ingredients, tinkering around with unconventional recipes, all with an eager anticipation that made my heart flutter. The thrill of creation, the anticipation of surprise, and the joy of bringing smiles to people's faces all differed with this kind of creativity. Bulbs of garlic, chamomile blossoms, even rich dark chocolate. Nothing seemed too out of box. Some blends turned out strangely satisfying, like a sweet and savory cocktail that tasted uncannily like grilled cheese and tomato soup. Others turned heads in confusion with their deceptive tastes hiding behind the allure of their inviting hues. Regardless of their reactions, these playful creations provoked curiosity, stirring conversations, drawing chuckles, and casting a sense of camaraderie rarely witnessed otherwise. The experimentation didn't end with April Fool's Day. The month continued to be an exciting melange of taste testing and ingenious blend crafting. My adventurous gastronomy club was the perfect playground. I reveled in the cross-pollination of ideas, the crossovers of traditional boundaries, and the symphony of diverse palates meshing together. The potluck event was not just about sharing food, although the spread of delicious home-cooked meals was certainly a highlight. It was about understanding others' passions, their culinary journeys, their food stories. It was about embracing the diversity of creative endeavors and cultivating a shared appreciation for good food and drink. Still enveloped in the lingering aromas of the potluck, I found myself wandering back into my makeshift culinary workshop at home. As the thoughts whirled and twirled in my mind, I recalled the satisfaction on my friends' faces from my unique cocktail concoctions. The whole experience stirred in me a new depth of passion and reinforced my connection with the craft of mixology. Mid-spring came with a fragrant bloom of opportunities, uncovering a well-concealed local winery that my friends and I happened upon during one of our excursions. A serendipitous discovery, it was a goldmine of inspiration and knowledge tucked away in a serene corner of Seoul. Rows upon rows of aged oak barrels filled with maturing spirit stood grandly against stone walls, telling tales of patient craftsmanship and reverent tradition. Clustered vineyards stretched out under the open sky, their abundant grape bunches whispering promises of exceptional vintage. The air buzzed with the distinct intoxicating scent of fermentation, and my excitement escalated. I was mesmerized by the process of spirit extraction, aging, and subtle infusions that created each unique batch. The deep, burnished glow of aging whiskey, the sun-drenched radiance of sweet dessert wines, and the clear, reflective allure of soothing vodka. It felt like I had stumbled into a mixologist's El Dorado. Being in such close proximity to the creation process ignited my curiosity. I was not just barside anymore. I was in the thick of it, unearthing the roots of my craft. It's astounding how a vineyard visit could stir up such a whirlpool of inspiration. New ideas seemed to infuse every corner of my mind like a delicate flavor seeping into a beverage. From the sun-dappled grounds, the earthy aroma, to the soulful chatters with the seasoned brewers, each element colored my imagination. I started envisioning combinations that would pay homage to these authentic flavors, something that would encapsulate the earthiness, the fruity tang, and timeless charm of the local spirit. Suddenly, mixology was not just about the finished glass and the lighthearted enjoyment it offered. It was about the story that led up to that joyous moment. About the journey from the vineyard to the barrel, from the barrel to the bottle, and from the bottle to the glass held delicately in someone's hand while they enjoy every sip. I aim to translate this beautiful journey into my future creations, giving my audience more than just a cocktail. There it was, the dream taking shape. A fine blend of traditional flavors, unique spirits, and my personal touch to dish out concoctions that nourished both the palate and the heart. My victory in a mixology contest in July served as a firm testament to this dream. The accolades received and the beaming smiles that lit up after savoring my creations were proof that I was on the right track. A fleeting yet exhilarating feeling of fulfillment washed over me, marking this moment as a pivotal point in my growth as a mixologist in Seoul's bustling scene. With the turning of July, an unusual chill began to creep in, pulling me away from the joy of my recent victory and towards an inevitable tide of change. There were whirlwinds in my heart and a labyrinth of thoughts in my mind as I combated uneasy anxieties and a flutter of anticipation. I began to curate my existence, weeding out the remnants of my life and soul enclosed in my room, tucked away in cupboards, hidden under beds, and under the veil of dust. Each item tangled in memories, snared in laughter, and soaked in tears held familiar conversations, whispered stories, echoed forgotten giggles, and untold secrets. The sight of my crammed-up wardrobe spurred a cascade of flashbacks. Impromptu night-outs in playful dresses, exhausted but gratifying nights in dull aprons. The vestiges of my first mixology contest blended with the fragrant re-imports of my last victorious night. Each of my old textbooks bore my past as well, with doodles and scribbled notes reminiscent of starry-eyed dreams and grand aspirations. Every trinket held a tale, some hilarious, some melancholic, and some seemingly mundane, yet painted in hues of vivid memories. Simple adornments sparked vivid reconstructions of hilarious bargains in local flea markets, cherished gifts from dear ones, and flea-ridden scarves woven with affectionate grandmotherly tales. On melancholic days, the room felt like an echo chamber filled with reverberations of our hearty laughter, cosmopolitan conversations, and the lull of cherished lullabies from bygone years. The seclusion of packing spurred the birth of a farewell party. The night was a glorious collision of nostalgia, shared aspirations, and endearing friendship tucked away in a speakeasy bar, enlivened by the warm glow of lamps and the calming hum of nocturnal city vibes. It was the bar where I had ventured early as an amateur, plunging headfirst into the enchanting world of mixology. The very stools that graced the bar and the ceiling that sheltered us had been witnesses to my trials, failures, and eventual rise. A river of goodbyes flowed that night, sprinkled with laughter and weighted with emotions. As friends raised their glasses towards me, the clinking sound reverberated into flushed cheeks, grateful smiles, flashing cameras, and strong farewell hugs, seeping in the warmth of shared history, carved into countless glasses of cocktails stirred and shared. Stories were reminisced, jests of the past echoed, and promises for the future were sworn upon, against the backdrop of cocktail shakers dancing rhythmically to the comforting lull of slow jazz and clattering of glasses. Amidst the cocktail potions brewed, cherishing the past, and bracing for the future, little did I know that this bittersweet evening would be a daring prelude to the most transformative phase of my life. As August set in, I found myself swimming in the sea of my past. The hallways of Seoul Foreign Language High School greeted me in their familiar manner, a beautifully captured snapshot from the archives of my adolescence. That day, as I paced down the familiar corridors, a gentle breeze fluttered through the trees, whispering the songs of yesteryears in my ears. Each classroom held a piece of my journey, ingrained in mere adolescent scribbles and solemn promises. I found myself laughing at first, slightly shocked at our adolescent boldness. As I visited the arts room where I'd spent my lunch breaks practicing Chinese calligraphy, I could still perceive the scent of ink and the echo of laughter wrapped in the silence. The gymnasium looked untouched, trapping echoes of our cheers during the school sporting events. I could feel the ghost-like applause as I stood there consumed in reflections of my past. A heartfelt conversation with my mentor marked the end of the day. She had been the guiding lighthouse at the stormy seas of my adolescence, steering me through choppy waters towards graduation. We dined together at an old haunt, exchanging tales and memories, nostalgia seeping through our conversation like the condensation on our glasses of soju. Over the remnants of our shared meal, she handed me a small package. It was a set of cocktail glasses, a parting gift. I could see the twinkle in her eye and the pride on her face as she wished me luck. In that moment, I felt a rush of gratitude, deep and profound, for this woman who had been a compass during my formative years. Her parting words etched themselves into my mind, her encouraging smile imprinting itself into the canvas of my memory, a beacon of hope and cheer that I would carry with me throughout the journey ahead. Skipping the final steps of a familiar floor, I found myself standing at the threshold of my apartment. The weary paint, the comforting scent of lavender, the slight creak when you pushed the door. Everything echoed familiarity as if stitched with fragments of my past. I let my bag slip from my shoulder, wistfully glancing around, my gaze resting at the battered, sunlit wooden floor, a testament to the countless footsteps marking my dance of life in this space. Everything in my apartment held a memory, my old art supplies, accumulating dust, but preserving the memory of sunny afternoons spent in ardent calligraphy practice, my worn-out couch, bearing the marks of multiple lax Netflix binges and deep, soulful conversations, and the counter, polished by a loving hand and stained with countless experiments of liquor and spices, each symbolizing a chapter in my mixology journey. Every crevice was filled with stories that I could now recount like an old chronicle. The chip in the corner of my kitchen table from a failed cooking experiment, the slight discoloration on the window pane due to the scorching hot summers, the dent in the wall next to my bedside table from an unfortunate encounter with a clumsy friend, all speaking volumes, not just of my history, but of the life I've lived. In the quiet of my apartment, a feeling of melancholic anticipation washed over me. Yearning for the new, but clutching onto the old, I found myself conflicted, navigating this bittersweet divergence in my life. The rooms echoed with laughter and sobs, the walls sighed with secrets whispered under moonlit nights, and the windowsills recounted countless sunrises witnessed here. My apartment was not just a structure of brick and mortar, but a piece of my heart, a souvenir of my soul that attached itself to every corner, every piece of furniture, every echoed laughter. As the day grew into night, the last rays of the sun cast long shadows across my apartment, an emblem of the ending and the beginnings. I felt like a part of this place, an integral piece of this colorful kaleidoscope of memories. As I absently hummed to myself, I realized that the sounds of my apartment misted in with the wind's lullaby and the city's nighttime hum, creating an unheard melody of memories. Home was an amalgamation of multicultural scents, nostalgic sounds, treasured mementos, and 1,000 shared stories, and in that moment, leaving this home felt like parting a piece of my past and a version of myself. But I knew that as I embarked on this new journey, I would be carrying a piece of this home with me. Time and distance couldn't detach me from this place I pullingly referred to as home, a place etched in my heart forever. That night, Insomnia and I played a game. I was engulfed in warm, lingering nostalgia, struggling, yet excited for my imminent farewell.